Adoatv, bringing good things to life.
Thursday, 4th June 2020, live from digital address GA2260733, also live on digital channel 37 and 38. It's always a pleasure coming to your homes every morning. This is AM News right here on Adoatv Television. My name is Nanya McCollison. Let's move straight to our top stories. Parliament of Ghana has failed to exercise check and balance over the executive arms of government. This is coming from the minority leader, Honorable Haruna Idris, will still stay in Parliament, and the House has commemorated World Hypertension Day. Commander Sugar Factory to operate after restrictions on foreign travel is lifted. We have these and many more coming up shortly. Please do stay with us. Let's start with some updates on the positive confirmed cases of Ghana's case count on the novel coronavirus pandemic. Active case stands at 5,378. Our death rate is at 38. Confirmed case is at 8,548. Now, recovery rate is at 3,132. That's the good news over there. Let's go to the regional breakdowns. And Greater Accra region is on the list with 5,894, Ashanti region 1,342, Western region 449, Central region 438, Eastern region 134, Volta region 86, Western North region 68, Upper East region 42, Northern region 37, OT region 26, Upper East region 22, Bono East region 6, Northeast region 2, Savannah region and Bono region 1. Ahafo region is yet to confirm a case. Let's do some other stories now. The minority leader, Honorable Haruna Idris, who has stated that Parliament, in the view since 1993 till date, has not lived to expectation as an important arm of government to exercise checks and balance over the executive arms of government. He was speaking at a meeting of the Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs in collaboration with the leadership of Parliament and some committee chairmen on the theme Parliament and the substance of Ghana's democracy beyond 2020.
It is my view that the Parliament of Ghana since 1993 till yesterday have not lived to the calling or the expectation as an important arm of government that is exercising checks and balances, particularly over the executive. But that is not to say that, for instance, committees such as the Appointments Committee chaired by the President this week is not living up to the calling of scrutinizing appointments from the executive, whether ministerial appointment or justices of the Supreme Court. The Appointments Committee have tried to leave a mark in terms of the exercise of oversight. But it is my view that not until Parliament elevates itself from being a clearing house for executive embarrassment, our Parliament will never ever be strong. It's as if we owe a duty to the executive that when they bring embarrassing details to Parliament, we rise to the defense of the executive because we do not want to embarrass the majority party to which we belong, which has been the case most instances since 1993.
The meeting was held under the flag of the Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs in collaboration with the leadership of Parliament, with some committee chairmen and ranking members to discuss some pertinent issues relating to parliamentary work. The minority leader, speaking on the theme Legislative Capacity of Parliament and Oversight Function, lamented over Parliament's inability to exercise checks and balances over the executive arm of Parliament since 1993. A typical example, Honorable Haruna Idrisu stated, is in the area of budget scrutiny.
Today, the Parliament of Ghana has failed Ghanaians woefully in holding the executive responsible, particularly expenditure related even to COVID. Government in the last 3 months have had to spend $1 billion public credit facility from the IMF. Government is currently borrowing $219 million from the sinking fund or contingency fund. If you read the tenor of Article 1771 and 2, Parliament has only read the first part of the constitutional provision to finance committees, scrutinizers, and give approval. 1772 requires that when the Minister for Finance takes the money, he must come to Parliament as soon as practicable or possible, that's the words used in the Constitution, with a supplementary estimate. Parliament has slept over that. Since the Minister for Finance came for the $290 million, $1.2 billion, he has failed to come back to Parliament to account for and to provide for what you may call an accountable interest.
The Majority Leader, Honorable Oseiche Mensah-Bonsu, while giving his remarks, seconded the views of the Minority Leader.
Colleagues, there are new key developments that really should agitate our minds. The Minority Leader has alluded to a couple of them. One is the role of Parliament in Article 177. When advances are made from the contingency fund to the Finance Minister at the instance of the Finance Committee, how does Parliament exercise its oversight function? Parliament has to think through this. As the Minority Leader alluded to, yes, he must come with a supplementary estimate in respect of that advancement of allocations made from the contingency fund. What does the Constitution say? The Constitution says that he must just present a supplementary estimate to us for the singular purpose of determining how to restock the amount that he has taken. So there is a deficit in the language of the Constitution.
Parliament yesterday commemorated the annual celebration of World Hypertension Day under the theme, Measure Your Blood Pressure, Control It and Live Long. The official statement was delivered on the floor of Parliament by the House to the Deputy Health Minister, Honorable Dr. Okoboy, on behalf of the Minister for Health.
Mr. Speaker, I stand here to make a statement on behalf of the Honorable Minister for Health on the celebration of World Hypertension Day. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to make this statement, celebration of World Hypertension Day, a day commemorated on the 17th of May every year with the ultimate aim of increasing awareness of hypertension and its complications. Hypertension, Mr. Speaker, is a non-communicable disease with significant prevalence in Ghana. High blood pressure, as it is called in the layman's language, is a condition where the blood pressure is raised beyond the average normal level. The theme for this year's celebration is Measure Your Blood Pressure, Control It, Live Longer. Mr. Speaker, the message the theme preaches is so apt and refreshingly unequivocal as well, that when you measure your blood pressure, that is when you get to know your status. And that's when you control it and you can then live longer. This is how straightforward the impact of the awareness is. You hear about hypertension, you measure your blood pressure, get treated and live longer. Mr. Speaker, there are many other disease conditions that hypertension can lead to if not managed well. This fact about hypertension is what makes its awareness creation a priority, coupled with the poignant truth that more often than not, hypertension comes with no signs and symptoms, even though present and persistent.
The Deputy Minister also disclosed some measures that the ministry is putting in place to address hypertension menace and its related issues.
Hypertension is the leading cause of stroke in Ghana and is a common cause of kidney failure, heart failure, and other organ pathologies as well. The biggest problem facing Ghana as far as hypertension is concerned, Mr. Speaker, is the high proportion of the population who have undiagnosed hypertension. Several research and also evidence from the 2014 Ghana Demographic and Health Survey shows that a significant proportion of the population with high blood pressure are not aware of their status. Such persons are thus likely to only have the high blood pressure diagnosed by chance or when complications set in. This situation is a source of concern for the Ministry of Health and its agencies. Ghana has thus adopted several strategies to reduce the incidence of hypertension in Ghana, improve access to care, including the management of complications, and to reduce incidence of complications. Primary prevention of hypertension activities with respect to prevention are aimed at increasing the knowledge of the general public on hypertension and risk factors. The establishment of the Health Promotion Division of the Ghana Health Service and the strengthening of the Non-Communicable Disease Control Program, also of the Ghana Health Service, are among such measures.
Meanwhile, the Member of Parliament for Drapa constituency contributing to the statement made an appeal to the Minister to ensure that the Ministry works in collaboration with the Food and Drugs Authority to thoroughly check food imported into the country.
We'll still stay on the floor of the House, and the Minister for Trade and Industry, Honorable Alan Kojo-Tremantin, has disclosed that as soon as restrictions on foreign travels are eased and lifted, the Commander Sugar Factory will go back to life. He noted that the official agreement has been now extended between the Park Agrotech Limited and the Commander Sugar Factory. This was pursuant to a question lifted by the Member of Parliament for Chireponi, Honorable Samuel Abudulai, on the current status of the Commander Sugar Factory and efforts being made to operationalize the factory.
This House that in June 2019, Park Agrotech Ghana Limited was approved by Cabinet as the preferred strategic investor for the Commander Sugar Factory. Park Agrotech Limited, a company incorporated and operating in Ghana in the agribusiness sector, will be working with STM Projects Limited, an Indian-based company that has extensive experience in the management and operations of sugar mills and plantations, both in India and other parts of the world. Mr. Speaker, following the approval by Cabinet, as required by conventional practice, the transactional advisors entered into final negotiations with a successful bidder with a view to entering into a concession agreement for the operations of the Commander Sugar Factory. Mr. Speaker, over the first 3 years of the agreement, Park Agrotech will invest an amount of $28 million in capital expenditure and working capital, including paying an annual concession fee of $3.3 million for a period of 15 years. The agreement, Mr. Speaker, will be effective upon completion of conditions precedent, which include the approval of the agreement by this August House. The required documentation, Mr. Speaker, will be brought before this House in due course. Mr. Speaker, I wish to inform this August House that a formal agreement has now been executed between Park Agrotech Limited and Commander Sugar Development Company Limited. I wish to assure this August House that as soon as the restrictions on foreign travels arising from the COVID-19 pandemic is lifted, and after all the necessary and relevant protocols and approvals have been secured, the technical partners of Park Agrotech will begin a comprehensive program of action to bring the Commander Sugar Factory back to life. This will bring prosperity to the people of Commander and its adjoining communities.
Meanwhile, the ranking member on Roads and Transport Committee, Honorable Kwame Agboza, has beckoned the Akufo-Addo-led administration to give some credit to the former President John Dramani Mahama pursuant to the achievement on certain projects. The MP for Wadaki constituency indicated that the minority has taken note of the worrying phenomenon where the ruling government fails to acknowledge the efforts put in place by previous governments.
It has become apparent to us as a minority that President Akufo-Addo deliberately decided to ignore the contributions of his predecessor, President Mahama. The reason I say this is this. There's no doubt that the NDC is the party of infrastructure. President Akufo-Addo cannot match President Mahama's record in the provision of social infrastructure for the past 4 years that he's been in government. Not in any sector. Education, health, roads, transport, or airports. Because of this, the president also took a decision to specifically ignore the road sector for the past 3 years. You remember the fact that he decided to suspend all cocoa roads, pretending that those projects were awarded wrongly. In fact, some of them said the projects were inflated. Some of them said the roads never even existed and the projects were awarded. Today, what we're talking about is a very simple thing. In few days, Temamoto interchange will be officially commissioned. The facts are that this project was supposed to be part of the MPS project, the Meridian Port Services project at Tema. However, at the time of going to start the construction of the port project itself, the Ministry of Roads and Highways and Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority were unable to conclude the details of how the motorway construction itself should go on. Out of that, MPS went ahead and started the construction of the port project. They even went ahead and did some remedial works at the end of the motorway as part of their corporate social responsibility. Knowing very well that that project is very dear in the sense of the master plan of Accra to ease congestion, President Mahama sought the support of the Japanese government. And from 2015, that project went through series of approvals in terms of project acceptance, project survey and design and everything before NDC left government. The project was already approved. It is a grant, so it didn't have to come to Parliament. It is just coincidental that by the time they were signing the grant agreement, it was in 2017. Otherwise, there wouldn't have been anything that would have stopped that project. In fact, if you read President Mahama's State of the Nation, the last State of the Nation address and NDC manifesto, we stated that that project cannot be stopped because it has nothing to do with the NPP government. However, we have noticed that just as the president did with the ridiculous resort cutting of Kumasi Airport project, which he totally ignored the contribution of his predecessor. Just as he did with all other projects, he's attempting, we are told that on Friday or Saturday or so, he would officially commission that project. Let it be known, that project is just that the president of the day is the president that saw to the completion of that project. But never anywhere did the NPP actually promise that project to anybody. So the president should do the right thing. Acknowledge the fact that the Temamoto interchange is a baby of the NDC, the party of infrastructure.
Let's move away from Parliament to the education front. And the West Africa Examination Council has said it is liaising with the Ministry of Education on how to go about the organization of this year's Basic Education Certificate Examination, BECE, and the West Africa Senior High School Certificate Examination, WASI. It follows the President's decision to reopen school for final year junior high school and senior high school students to enable them prepare for the BECE and the WASI respectively.
On March 15, 2020, the President announced the indefinite closure of schools as a result of the outbreak of COVID-19 in the country. He indicated that the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Communications were to collaborate to develop e-learning programs for students at the basic and SHS levels. Announcing the first phase of easing some of the COVID-19 restrictions last Sunday, President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo said from Monday, June 15, 2020, schools would be reopened for final year students in JHS, SHS, and universities to enable them to prepare for their exit examinations. The decision, he explained, was taken in consultation with the teacher unions comprising the Ghana National Association of Teachers, NAT, the National Association of Graduate Teachers, NAGRAT, the Coalition of Concerned Teachers Ghana, CCT, and the Teachers and Educational Workers Union. Per the announcement, final year students in JHS, SHS, and universities could go back to the classroom under strict COVID-19 safety measures. The head of Public Affairs of WAEC, Mrs. Agnes Teikujo, disclosed that they are liaising with the Ministry of Education on how they can go about organizing the examinations for the final year students. According to Mrs. Teikujo, after meeting the Ministry of Education and the Ghana Education Service, WAEC could come out officially on the writing of the two examinations. She noted that whatever decision they take will be officially communicated to the candidates and the public.
Let's do some business news now. In dealing with the volatility of price movement on the stock market, the Ghana Stock Exchange has amended its trading rules primarily to enhance efficient stock price and discovery of fair marketing prices. An official notice to the stock to market indicated that the Ghana Stock Exchange from Monday, 15th June 2020, began the implementation of its amended trading rules on price movement of the stock market.
These amended rules have been approved by the Security and Exchange Commission, which regulates the capital market, as stated in Rule 30 of the newly approved trading rules, and it replaced Rule 22 of the Ghana Stock Exchange Automated Trading System rules. Rule 30, price movement of the newly approved trading rules, stated that for a security whose price is 0.10 Ghana pesos or above, the price change on the trading day shall not exceed plus or minus 10% of the previous day's closing price for the security. Secondly, for a security whose price is 10 Ghana cedis and above, the price may only change with a minimum volume of 500 shares. Further to this, the rule stated that for a security whose price is below 10 Ghana cedis but greater or equal to 1 Ghana cedis, the price may only change with a minimum volume of 1,000 shares. For a security whose price is less than 1 Ghana cedis, the price may only change with a minimum volume of 2,000 shares. Notwithstanding Rule 34 above, the price change on a trading day for a security whose price is below 0.10 Ghana pesos shall not exceed the previous day closing price of the security by a tick of 0.01 Ghana pesos. The rule also indicated that the Rule 30 shall not apply to negotiated trades. Cumulatively, over the past years, investors on the Ghana Stock Exchange have lost worth of their capital to the tune of 11,913.32 Ghana pesos due to the combination of factors including banking crisis and the current global pandemic COVID-19. At the end of the training session on Tuesday, June 2, 2020, the stock market had lost about 15.84% of its value in the period of 2 years, whereas the year-to-date returns for this year stood at minus 5.72%. To date, 3.249 billion Ghana cedis has been wiped off the stock market's capital since the beginning of 2020. Instructively, the exchange has directed all licensing dealing members to, with effect from June 15, to apply to the following trades.
That's it for me on the news this morning. We'll bring you updates of these stories in a subsequent bulletin. Meanwhile, you can visit our website, Adwa News Online, for more news. My name is Nanyema Collison. From me and the rest of the team, thanks for watching. We'll see you again tomorrow. But till then, stay with us on AM Ghana Show as we deliberate on real issues bordering Ghana. Happy birthday to Madam Iris and Irene Akweleka Kwoko Boy. Good morning.
John, what's in you?